But let's get a move on and focus in on the toy industry. Interestingly, we understand that nearly 80% of Indian toys are China imports, and we also have, non-branded Chinese toys, which account for nearly 90% of India's market. Let's get in more clarity on that data and the road ahead and the India opportunity now with R Jeswant, the CEO at Funskool India. Thanks much for taking time out, Mr. Jeswant. So break down the numbers for us in terms of how much of the toys that come in are imports mainly from China, because I understand that India accounts for a meager 4,000 crores of the $90 billion global toy market. Is that correct?
India, we estimate the world toy market to be about 90 billion US dollars, and the Indian toy market is just about between 450 million and 500 million, which translates to a little about 3,500 crores, between 3,500 and 4,000 crores, and it's roughly about 0.5% of the world toy market, which is a very, very small number. So, expected to grow exponentially over the next few years. But there's been with COVID-19, I think hopefully it's just an aberration, and market will continue to grow over the next few years.
Okay, so now we're seeing, the potential for Atmanirbhar Bharat, the boycott China movement, if you will, that is gathering steam. What kind of an opportunity are you foreseeing for the Indian toy market, for toy manufacturers like yourself? Do you think that we are at a position where India can now start making toys for the world, or are there many, road bumps or challenges along the way that we need to cross first?
The capability is certainly not lacking. There are a number of, world toy majors who are sourcing their products from us at the moment. The more and more world toy companies are showing interest in sourcing from us. So we've been able to meet all the quality standards and produce good quality toys. But when it comes to the domestic market, there are issues because the Indian toy market is very small, and in the toy industry, for design and development, there are some handicaps which we face in the Indian market. For example, the tooling costs are very high. The market is small, so amortizing the cost of tooling over the small numbers that we have in the Indian toy market inhibits design and development to an extent. Now, India is an evolving market. There's not much history for toys. We do not have a lot of expertise in design and development in the toy industry in India. All these are evolving, but one is most of the Chinese companies. The generic products which they have, they supply to the global toy industry. So the volumes are high. They're able to have more toys, produce more designs when their design and development is ahead of us. But for the Indian toy industry to catch up, I think some amount of protection certainly required. Of late, we have seen import duties being jacked up, which has certainly helped. So, I think a few initiatives from the government in support of the Indian toy industry will certainly go a long way in the industry developing faster.
Sure. Mr. Jeswant, also wanted to understand how is it that you managed to keep a 3-year-old or 3-decade-plus old toy company actually relevant even in today's trading times? I mean, the Chinese counterparts and the competition from that market aside, it's the age of digital gaming and entertainment. So how is it that you continue to be relevant and stay afloat?
Look, let's understand this. I told you the Indian toy market is about 450 to 500 million dollars. The world toy industry is $90 billion, as I said, and so we are just 0.5% of the world toy industry. And by a rough estimation, about 25% of the world's children in the age group 0 to 12 years, who are the TG for toys, really, live in India. So we've just scratched the surface, and it's not as if because of digital gaming or whatever, it's not as if the toy industry has shrunk worldwide. It stayed at around the 90 billion number for a long time, with some saturation in the more developed markets, but a huge opportunity for markets like India, where there is really no history for toys. Young parents of today have not really played with branded toys, but that's all changing. We have been in the industry. We've been a major player for the last 33 years. It's during the last 33 years, that is when, Funskool and some other companies also started operating in India. And that is when, quality branded toys started becoming available to the Indian customer. So we have today, we have seen young parents who have played with branded toys coming into the market with a lot of purchasing power. Things are looking up. So certainly, we expect exponential growth to happen over the next few years as more and more young parents who've been exposed to branded toys and who understand the need for toys in the development of the child come into the market. We expect things will get much better. See, when you're talking about the digital space and as a result of which the market for toys could shrink, this cannot happen in all categories of toys. For example, if you look at infant and preschool toys, the physical toy will always be relevant. The digital gaming, yes, some of the games are can be played online, and that could result. See, we're seeing very good growth in the board game industry in India. Now, particularly after the lockdown, we've seen huge response to board games and puzzles in India. But yes, this is could have grown faster, but for the digital gaming getting bigger, that is possible. But I don't think it's, at the moment when we are so small, the Indian market, it's not a major worry, and I think we'll continue to remain relevant for a long time. Because we are nowhere near the size of the developed market. We're just evolving.